Hi everyone, welcome to the video. Thank you for tuning in. Today we're going to talk about some EOS price predictions, and I will touch on a bit of the history, where it's at now, and some exciting stuff moving forward. And with the price predictions, I will just mention I've got a couple of different scenarios here based on the circulating supply and certain factors. But before I begin, none of this is legal, tax and or financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. This video contains my own opinions mixed with the content provided by the authors in the articles. Now let's begin. EOS is the token on the EOS.io software, or I should say the blockchain protocol that is used to try and develop what are called decentralized applications. So the idea of this is that you've got a massive operating system that allows people to produce all of these decentralized apps on an industrial scale, and something that is fast enough, about say 1 million transactions per second, to compete at a global scale. I found this article here about what is a DApp. It's a CoinDesk article, I should say. Further info here, I'll let you read through this in your own time. I'll provide a link to all of these articles and websites in the description. Back to what is EOSIO. So the company behind EOSIO is Block One, and you've probably heard of the name Dan Larimer, who is the CTO, one of the co-founders, alongside, and just for a bit of trivia here, alongside Brendan Bloomer, who is the CEO. So Block One have been doing some excellent work. I just want to quickly draw your attention to the prices, or I should say, where EOS stands in relation to other cryptos. So it's hovered between about 5 and 7 for a while. So it's definitely up there, a solid top 10. I just want to draw your attention to the official EOS.io website. About every 7 to 10 days, they are providing an update about, it could be a software update or just something about the utility and some fascinating news in the space. So here is a list of all of the recent articles they've written. And it's good that they're keeping people informed. Plenty of utility behind it. To just very quickly summarize some of the info in the article I showed you earlier. So the idea of the DApps is that it cuts out the need for the middleman. It just simplifies the process. And it's based on smart contracts. So you've probably heard of the term smart contract being used for Ethereum. This ties in with the common phrase being thrown around of EOS being an Ethereum killer. You've probably, if you're familiar with the space, you would have heard this term several times now over the past few months. So many cryptos, especially the ones that come to mind, you've got EOS, Cardano, Tron. They're probably the top 3 touted as an Ethereum killer in inverted commas. Because, as a quick side note, as you probably know, Ethereum has been very slow in terms of trying to get their upgrades with Casper and sharding and all of that. I've got more information in a separate video about that if you're interested. There's a real tussle to try and dominate everyone else in the space, I guess, in addition to Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is kind of in a league of its own in some ways, although it may not always be number one. So on the note of Ethereum killers, I actually found this article here, and this was posted, this was last year in August. This was a couple of months after EOS launched on its own blockchain, on the EOS.io blockchain. It was previously an Ethereum token. And this touches on what's very fascinating is the largest ICO in history, $4.2 billion, which is massive when you consider there have been over 2,000 listed cryptos. Just going, apologies jumping back and forth, but there's so much information, it's kind of hard to keep it all in a logical sequence. Blockonomy here provides information about liquid apps and the DApp network, promoting mass scale adoption of DApps. This is mostly targeted more towards the programmers and developers, or those that are just very, very enthusiastic about the space and wanting to look further into this. Again, I could literally spend an hour going through all of this, but I'm just going to touch on some of the articles that are probably worth reading. I also want to point out the Block One Twitter page. Pretty much all the information on the website, but on the Twitter page, people chiming in with their input. I'll provide a link to that as well. Now, let's just jump into the price predictions. Just to cut the long story short, let's have a look here. Okay, so my calculations here. I've looked at the circulating supply and the current price and the market cap, as one should do, generally speaking. And in case you're interested, I'll provide a link to some of my other price predictions for other cryptos, such as XRP and Cardano, in this video as well, later in the video. So let's say we have a 920 million EOS circulating supply. I've predicted that if each token were to get to $50, That would translate to a $46 billion market cap. Is that possible? Yes, definitely. Could we reach it by the end of this year? Perhaps. In fact, before I continue, just for perspective once again, let's have a look at where Bitcoin and Ethereum are. When you consider that Bitcoin has a market cap of over 130 billion, and the circulating market cap is still a fraction of where we were as opposed to the all-time high. In fact, let's have a look at where we are now and then the market cap overall. So it's about 830 billion. We hit an all-time high of, say, $24, and we're talking about $50. I strongly believe that we can hit $50 probably by, again, none of this is financial advice, just my opinions, by the beginning of next year sometime, say March, April, so just under a year. I think that could be done if there's momentum in the space. If the momentum in the space that we're getting at the moment continues to grow, I wouldn't rule that out. So $50, yes. $250. At $250 per EOS, that's about $230 billion market cap overall. Could that be achieved? Yes. How long will it take? Who knows? This is the $1 million question, so to speak. I think we could hit $250 per EOS sometime in 2021. And we want 1,000. That's going to be $920 billion as a market cap. That is an astronomical jump from where we are now. Could we hit it? Well, I think for us to hit that, we would need EOS to be Google-esque. I've just made that up, but it needs to be huge, in my opinion. When you consider that, I mentioned Google, but you need to think as well that Amazon and Apple hit over $1 trillion market cap, which is astronomical. And there is a lot of room for growth. But if EOS really takes off, I think we could get a solid 500 EOS, so $500 per EOS. 1,000, I don't know. A lot could happen. Cardano could pick up. You could have Tron, I don't know, miraculously just blow, I can't even speak English, blow everyone else out of the water. We have a 950 million circulating supply. At $50 per EOS, that would be $47.5 billion US dollars. At $250 per EOS, that would be $237.5 billion. And at 1,000, that would be $950 billion US dollars. That's assuming that the circulating supply increases a bit. Now, you're probably wondering, why am I going on about the circulating supply? Well, in terms of at what rate that supply will continue to grow, you need to consider as well the total supply. This total supply could change as well. Let me go back. Could change, especially with more of a coin burn. And I don't know when we're going to hit the total supply. I haven't actually looked this up, to be honest. I am going to assume that it could hit 950 million in terms of the supply. Now, there are a couple of articles here from Crypto Slate. So, EOS votes to burn $167 million in tokens to control the inflation rate, to bring it down from 5 to 1%. And then they did an article speaking about that as well a few days earlier. I did a video on this a couple of weeks back on the topic of this inflation change. So I just want to point out the crux of it here. The official proposal seeks to change the current EOS annual rate of inflation from 5% to 1%. Inflation is a common occurrence in crypto economics. Even Bitcoin has tapering inflation with its block rewards. They're doing this to avoid, as it says here, unnecessary funds being accumulated in the network savings account. So usually 1% goes to the block producers and 4% goes into this savings account that's been growing over time. We'll be keeping the 1% assigned to the block producers, and then the 4% that would have otherwise gone into the EOS savings account will be scrapped for now. I mean, geez, they should have plenty of money in the kitty, especially with the $4 billion ICO. That is huge. Sorry, I'm losing my voice here. That's pretty much a wrap. I don't have anything else to add. I look forward to your input. What are your thoughts? What are your price predictions in terms of what price it's going to hit, by which date? I like to get other people's opinions on this. If you enjoy the video, feel free to subscribe. I always appreciate new subscribers, and thank you to those who have already done so. If you do subscribe, I recommend hitting the bell icon to stay up to date with all of my latest videos and content. I post on a regular basis, every day or two at the latest. If you want to comment, feel free to do so. If you want to give your own input or just say g'day, always looking forward to hearing from people. That's the wrap. Thanks again. I hope you're all having a wonderful day, afternoon or evening, wherever you are. And I'll chat to you soon. Thanks, and see you later.